On behalf of the music department of Mariana First United Methodist Church and its clergy and its congregation, I do thank you for coming today to hear these works of Mozart. I am especially delighted to have new ears audition this organ, Opus 39 by Laderagatz Organ Builders in Pfullendorf, Germany. It's admittedly still in its childhood as a liturgical and concert instrument. You'll be hearing about 12 to 15%, I think, of its pipes are speaking currently, but it's enough to accompany this kind of work. It is the tradition, or at least the modern tradition, of the Cobb Summer Singers to have an instrumental work, non-vocal work beforehand, because the voice is an instrument. I didn't mean to offend any of the singers just now. And so last year we did a Bach harpsichord thing, and for this year, I thought we could introduce the organ to folks. But Mozart was a very famous organist, a very acclaimed organist, did not write any organ pieces, except 3, and they're not really organ pieces. They're for mechanical clocks. I'm not kidding. They're for mechanical clock organs. No keyboardists, no humans. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. But I do want to say that this organ will continue to evolve, and if you're interested, come during the week. I'd love to take you up to see the chambers, to see what's going on inside of this instrument. And you can sign a pipe if you'd like to. One that's yet to be installed in the organ that can really confuse your family history. One day it's uncovered during a restoration hundreds of years from now, your name is there for some reason, it'll be great. And after you sign a pipe, why not sign a check and be part of this organ's remaining balance, dwindling down into its last cent? First, the C minor Mass. Like the Requiem, it is in a state of incompletion. It has undergone several severe edits to first define the Mozart torso manuscript, and that includes the Kyrie, the Gloria, the Gratias, the Qui Tollis, cum Sancto Spiritu, part of the Credo, and the Sanctus movements, all of which you'll hear this afternoon. But even these were finished mostly by editors, especially when it comes to the orchestrations. We're doing the 1904 edition by Alois Schmidt. Why didn't he finish it? That's as undefinitive a question as the score itself. It said that his writing, it all came about as a fit of inspiration stemming from his fiancée Costanza's illness and their engagement and eventual marriage in 1782. So it wasn't exactly a commission. The only performance came in October 1783 in Salzburg and featured Costanza singing the soprano parts, and as a liturgical event. But the other movements of the Mass were not done, and so he had to use pieces from his past to sort of cobble together a liturgical Mass. It should be noted that that performance came shortly after their first child, Raymond, had died at the age of 2 months, barely a year after their wedding. So maybe this stands to the motivation to finish the piece. 2 years later, he was asked to set music to oratorio of Italian lyrics, the Italian psalms called Davide Penitente by De Ponte, was the librettist, and he used the exact same music you're going to hear tonight. He just changed the words to these Italian psalms. And when he conducted it, in the only performance in his life, he just used his C minor Mass score. He didn't even have the new words written in. So he has a very strange relationship with this piece. It remains an unsolved puzzle that scholars continue to research and strive to solve, and composers continue to finish the score in the way they believe to be truest. As for Mozart's sacred music writing, Mozart was foremost a dramatist. From his iconoclastic biographer, Hildesheimer, he writes, "His masses may evoke religious fervor in believers, and that is their conscious intention, but they are infused not with belief, but with the will to portray it." Or to put it even more bluntly, as he does, no one in Mozart's circles spoke of the church as an institution. As a building, the church was for him less a holy site than the place where an organ stood. So, he wrote these mechanical clock organ pieces. I don't really understand how that works, but basically he presented the score to this cylinder maker. It's this barrel that goes through this machine, and there's like these pins on it, a little bit like a music box, but as you'll hear, it must have been a really huge barrel. I just really can't conceive of it, but I'm not the person asking about that. But what's interesting about his organ playing is he did, at the end of his life, secure a post as an organist, because the organist of the St. Stephen's Cathedral was ill and was going to die, and Mozart was going to be his successor. But that was in April 1791, so Mozart died first. And he needed that job pretty badly. He was pretty poor at the time. So, Mozart did not control his published legacy. He did not mean for me to play this on the organ for you. He meant for a clock to play it. But he did not control his legacy, and so others eventually got these pieces that he submitted to the cylinder maker published, and that's what you'll hear tonight. And I probably produced more befuddlement than I have clarity regarding these pieces. Even so, here ends my little talk, and we shall now present the Fantasie in F minor, crucial number 594,